going to shock the nation in 2024. There are always those handful of teams that greatly exceed their preseason expectations. And today, guys, we're going to be giving you two teams from each power conference that we think could do just that. Teams that could exceed their preseason win total. Teams that maybe could contend for a conference title or maybe even a playoff spot now that it has expanded to 12 teams. We've got 8 potential 2024 surprise teams coming your way right now here at the Gridiron Expert. So welcome back, guys. We're so glad you could join us today. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our website, thegridironexpert.com. We want you to become a part of our GE Nation, guys. We want you to take advantage of everything we have to offer down in the description, everything we have over on our website, because the season is going to be here before we know it. And when it does hit, you will not want to miss out on any of the content we have for you right here on our channel. So check it out. Check out our mailing address to send us some of your team's gear. All of this stuff behind us is sent in by you guys, members of the GE Nation. We'd love to get some of these potential surprise teams, get some gear of theirs back here for this season. It's never too late, never too early to send in your gear. And again, we will be representing them in every single video if you do that. So all that information, again, down in the description below. So let's dive into it. We said 2 from each power conference. It's only 4 power conferences now, thanks to the Pac-12 completely disbanding. But we'll start over in the ACC. We've got Virginia Tech. I absolutely love this Virginia Tech team. They returned 86% of their production from last year. They returned the most production on offense in the entire country, 95% of their offensive production returning to Blacksburg in 2024. And this is a team that really started to pick up steam last year. They won 5 of their final 7 games, won their bowl game convincingly over Tulane to finish the year at 7-6. And Virginia Tech could have been a lot better last year. 3 of their losses coming by just 1 possession. You look what they've got now. Brent Pry really, I think, has his guys there, has the team that he thinks can contend for an ACC title. They've got a very favorable schedule, one that could see them start 4-0 entering conference play, and it's a very easy conference schedule with the majority of their biggest games coming at home, including a big home game against Clemson. This is a Virginia Tech team, guys, that can contend for an ACC title if they carry the momentum that they built in 2023 into this year, and I believe they will do just that. How about SMU sticking in the ACC? First year in the conference for the Mustangs. Do not be surprised to see them contending for a conference title. They went 11-3 last year, and now they returned tons on offense, including their quarterback, Preston Stone, who got injured late last year. The majority of their offensive line returns. Rhett Lashley's done a phenomenal job with the Mustangs program. And this is a team that, to me, really could, and we're not predicting games here, a team that could start 5-0. SMU starting 5-0 is not entirely far-fetched. Their toughest road conference game is on the road against Louisville. They get some of their bigger home conference games at home, such as the home game against Florida State, the reigning ACC champions, a home game against Boston College, who the Mustangs lost to in their bowl game last year, so a bit of a revenge game for SMU. This is a team that's going to do some damage in their first year in the ACC. They're not going to have that traditional transition period, so watch out for the Mustangs, not just surprising the ACC, but maybe surprising the country by season's end. Switching gears over to the Big Ten. Is this the year for Nebraska? Is this the year for Nebraska? We think maybe it could be. We're not saying Nebraska is going to go win the Big Ten. We're not saying they're legitimate Big Ten title contenders. But this is a team that is 3rd in the nation in returning production. 77% of their team production returning in 2024. And this is a Nebraska team that hasn't made a bowl game since 2016. Now feels like the year that they finally will get over the hump and get back to the postseason for the first time in nearly a decade. They went 5-7 in year 1 under Matt Rule, but they had 5 one-possession losses, 4 of those coming by a field goal. I mean, so close for Nebraska, and it's been that way for so many years. The Scott Frost years, the first year under Matt Rule, they've been so close, haven't been able to win those close games. This could be the year that they do it. Matt Rule had abysmal years at Temple and Baylor in his first years with those programs, but in year 2, he did lead the Owls to a bowl game. He did lead the Bears to a bowl game. Could he lead Nebraska to a bowl game in his second year in Lincoln? The odds are saying yes. The signs are pointing towards yes, especially with the favorable schedule where 6 of the first 9 games for Nebraska are at home. Sticking in the Big Ten as well. Give me Rutgers. How about Rutgers, the Scarlet Knights? Last year, they were a surprise team. Last year, they go 7-6. They reach a bowl game. They win their bowl game over Miami. But I'm here to tell you, Rutgers is not a one-hit wonder. Last year wasn't a flash in the pan for the Scarlet Knights, and now they're going to go back to their losing ways. That's not happening. Greg Schiano has patiently built something in Piscataway. This is a team that is 8th in the nation in returning production with tons of momentum. They're going to have a better offense. Last year we saw it. It's going to be even better this year. The defense, typically strong under Greg Schiano, even in the down years. They've got a big game in Week 4 at Virginia Tech. So talk about two surprise teams facing off against each other. The Scarlet Knights did win that game by 19 last year, but they do have a very favorable conference slate. Somehow, in the expanded Big Ten, Rutgers found a way to avoid Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, and Oregon. The Scarlet Knights avoided the top 4 teams in the Big Ten in 2024. The toughest conference game, maybe, for Rutgers is the road game at USC on October 26th. It is a very favorable schedule. Greg Schiano knows what he's doing, and I like Rutgers a lot this year. Am I saying they're going to go win the Big Ten or be a playoff team? No, but this is a team that could very well have a winning record before the postseason. 7 wins or more before the postseason, which is a heck of an accomplishment considering everything that Rutgers has gone through. Moving over to the Big 12, another team that has, or another conference that has expanded. UCF, one of the newcomers last year in the Big 12, but they're a team that I really liked this year. Gus Malzahn, I think, kind of reached expectations in their first year in the Big 12, led the Knights to a bowl game where they lost to Georgia Tech, so finished the year at 6-7, but UCF was a much better team than their record showed. The Knights had 3 losses to Baylor, Oklahoma, and Texas Tech by a combined 4 points. They were like inches, just a few minuscule plays away from potentially being a 9-win team in the regular season. I mean, UCF was much better. So now you've got Gus Malzahn back, of course, as head coach. They added KJ Jefferson in at quarterback, a transfer from Arkansas to lead what is going to be a very dynamic offense, maybe one of the best offenses in the Big 12. This is a team that could easily be 4-2, maybe even 5-1 entering the second half of the season. And in the second half of the season, they get to host 2 of the better teams in the Big 12 in Arizona and Utah. Both those teams have to come to Orlando. So if UCF finds themselves with a very solid record entering the final half of the year, those games could have major Big 12 title implications and maybe even playoff implications depending on what the rest of the conference is doing and what the Knights is doing as well. This is a team that was much better than their record showed. Do not sleep on them in what is going to be a wide open Big 12 this year. And the same can be said, do not sleep on Iowa State. As I always say, and Matt Campbell, I trust. This is the team that is number 2 in the country, second in the country behind Virginia Tech in returning production. 85% of the production returning for Iowa State. And, last year they were in the midst of that giant gambling scandal. It was a big deal coming out of Ames. And everybody thought the Cyclones, were going to be terrible because of that. But really, this benefited Matt Campbell and Iowa State. They had a very young team, had a lot of youth playing. They exceeded expectations. Now that youth is coming back, and Iowa State has a chance to be one of the better teams in the entire conference. They had the best defense in the Big 12 last year. They went 7-6 last year, but did have 3 one-possession losses to Iowa, Ohio, and Kansas. Easily could have been a 10-win season for the Cyclones. A young team is going to struggle to win those close games. A more veteran team is going to find a way to win them. And this year, they are a more veteran team. The offense is loaded with playmakers. The defense is going to be strong once again. Watch out for Iowa State. It's a wide-open conference, and they will find themselves in the hunt for a Big 12 title. And then finally, wrapping things up, the 2 surprise teams out of the SEC. Let's start with Texas A&M. I know what you're thinking. How are they going to be a surprise team? Aren't they always getting a bunch of preseason hype? They are, but they always fall short of expectations because Jimbo Fisher consistently failed them. Mike Elko, though, is not Jimbo Fisher. Mike Elko is in his first year in College Station. Texas A&M returned 72% of their team's production from last year. That puts them in the top 20 in the country. Last year, they were 7-6 with 4 one-possession losses, including their loss to Oklahoma State in their bowl game. And you look at Mike Elko. He was a quick fixer. He won 9 games in his first year at Duke. 9 wins for Texas A&M this year would match their highest win total since 2020, the COVID year. That's also something that Jimbo Fisher only did twice during his time in College Station. A&M has loads of talent. They finally got a coach that I think knows the culture, knows how to win, and you'll have a very good idea of what Texas A&M brings to the table in Week 1 when they host Notre Dame. Potential top 10 team coming to College Station. What a way to kick off the Mike Elko era, an opportunity for us to see if A&M really can live up to the hype, or maybe it could be another disappointing year for the Aggies. And then finally, in the SEC, giving me Mississippi State. Now look, by surprise teams, what did we say? Surprise teams that can exceed their preseason expectations. The Bulldogs are not SEC title contenders. The Bulldogs are not playoff contenders, but the Bulldogs are a team that could get to the postseason. And winning 6 or 7 games in their first year under Jeff Lebby would be a heck of an accomplishment. This is a team that went 5-7 last year with a couple narrow losses in there, but Lebby is a great offensive mind. He's got a very veteran quarterback in Blake Shapen transferring in from Baylor. They have a tough schedule. They have to go to Texas. They got to play Georgia, Tennessee, Ole Miss. But I think this team's going to be a lot more competitive than you think. And a 4-0 start is not entirely out of the question. It would be tough, but they can do it. And if the Bulldogs do start 4-0, maybe even 3-1, they will be flirting with a bowl berth by the end of the season. And getting there in their first year with a first-year head coach would be a heck of an accomplishment. Do not sleep on Mississippi State. I do think they're going to be way better than people think. So there you go, guys. 8 potential surprise teams from the 4 power conferences. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Are we hitting on these? Are we missing on these? Let us know tomorrow. You know what we're doing. We're breaking down 8 potential disappointing teams. Teams that have high expectations that maybe are going to fall well short of those by season's end. Do not miss out on those. We are just a couple months away from prediction season, though, and that is when we will really be able to tell who's going to surprise, who's going to disappoint. That's when we really start breaking things down, getting into the nitty-gritty. But we want to know your thoughts up until then. And, of course, until then, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Check out everything down in the description below, our website, thegridironexpert.com. You do not want to miss out on that. Everything down there, guys, to help you become a member of our GE Nation. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.